guys, what's going on? Shay here from That Student Life Australia. In this video I'm going to be covering the basic exam technique tips that I have for you. Little tiny things that you can control within your exam to get the best marks possible. So I'm going to go straight into my main tips for exam technique. Here they are. Tip 1 is pretty basic, but it's definitely essential. And that is to make sure you have a clock in the room that you're actually doing the test in. It's going to help you figure out whether you're maybe rushing a little bit, or you're moving too slow, or you're right on pace. So by using that time that's on the wall and figuring out where you are in regards to it and the exam, so it's definitely a good guide to make sure that you never end up with things left unanswered, or just having the time run out when you're in the middle of a question. Alright, my second tip is to know the structure of the exam you're taking. For example, is that exam in 2 parts? Is there multiple choice at the start? Is it 2 hours, 3 hours? How many essays are you going to be expected to write? All those little things are going to help you in preparing for the exam before, and also dealing with the exam in terms of stress, because there's nothing worse than underestimating the length of an exam, or thinking you had 3 hours to do this thing that you only have 2.5 for. Those sort of things can kind of put you off your game, and you just want to make sure that you've got them right. Number 3. Most people will, just take this as a given, but it's definitely just as important as any other tip, and that is to bring your equipment. There is no point turning up to a maths exam without a calculator, or to an English exam without any pens. Alright, so my next tip is probably my most used tip, and that is to do the questions which you know how to do or you're familiar with first. Now, the questions that are pretty easy or straightforward, or that you've maybe specialised in within your study, are going to be the ones which you can do really fast and feel good about. So they're a great place to start an exam, especially if you're nervous. For me, at the start of an exam, I quickly flick through every page, making sure I see and quickly scan every question, make a little cross next to the ones that I definitely know I can do. As soon as the exam time starts and I can pick my pen up, I will move straight to those questions and answer them as best I can. And in the past, that has actually allowed me to have extra time on questions worth the same marks, but I'm actually going to struggle with more. So it helps out in the long run. Alright, so when I come up to a question which isn't one of the ones I just said before, which I always do first, the really easy ones that I know, I do one of 2 things. If I reasonably well know how to answer this question, I will read the question carefully, pick out the verb that they actually want me to answer with, for example, describe, assess, analyse, those sort of things, and then I'll just quickly think about what I'm going to put in the actual answer, and then start writing. If I need to, I'll grab a spare piece of paper and write a plan sheet. Maybe if it's an essay, I'll just quick, jot down some quick points just to make sure that I don't forget anything vital. Other than that, if I come to this question and I really have no idea what it's asking me, I will highlight it with a very bright yellow highlighter, which I will not miss later, and I'll just move on straight away. I mean, sometimes even if I read a question and 15 seconds goes by and I just really haven't got any ideas yet, I'm just going to move on. Save time. Do not get stuck just sitting there looking at a blank page. Do your best on every question, but if you can't do a question right away, move on. So if you're in a bit of a time pinch and say you've only got 5 minutes left with 10 minutes work or something like that, you're going to need to make a few decisions about how you're going to answer that question. For example, if you're in a science test or something like that, although I'm sure you'd love to use full sentence form and really get out every detail you can, you're probably going to have to resort to maybe adding dot points and diagrams, the main core things you need to express. Because those things, although that format may not get you 100% of the marks, just make sure you get the core things and the core answers down. Another exam technique tip is to actually just chill out before the exam. Obviously, if you haven't done any study and you're cramming that morning, this really doesn't apply to you, and you can just keep going on with what you're doing, and hopefully that works for you. But if you studied a fair bit, and maybe you're feeling kind of tired or kind of stressed, just chill out the night before, get a good sleep, eat a good breakfast on the day, and maybe even just relax on the lounge before the exam or something like that, just to calm yourself down, because for the most part, you've done all the study that you can, and all you really need to do now is convey it. So having a clear head and a calm mind is the best way to do so. So that wraps it up for me, guys. They're my main exam technique tips. Now, different things are going to work for different people. So trial and error is the best way to see how well you take an exam or what things work for you. So good luck everybody with your exams, especially the HSC students with the trial. I'm sorry I haven't made any videos lately. Actually, I've just been really sick this last week with a cold and I've just gotten over it. So I'm pretty happy about that. But there'll be more videos on the way. See you later. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe for more from That Student Life Australia.